Welcome to Retrotopia's 111th episode. My name is Brian, and today we are going to be taking a journey through the history of role-playing games in an indie game called Evoland. Now, if you're just here for the game chat, head about 25 minutes down the road and you should find it, but we hope you stay because we do like these intros and we like to have a little bit of fun. Now, before we begin, I do have to get some plugs out of the way, so if you could rate us 5 stars wherever you're listening on your podcast, it helps us become more visible. Also, if you want to join us on social media, you can do so at linktree/Retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/Retrotopia, where you can find our Instagram, our Twitter, our YouTube, all those, including a link to our Discord, where we have a nice community growing. Also, you can go to retrotopia.dashery.com or use a link in the description of this podcast, and you'll find our merch store. We also have a Patreon, which is free to join at patreon.com/retrotopia. There you can take part in polls, chat with the host, you can write in about the game of the week or the 9-bit banter box to the host of the week. You can also get Quick Play, which is a short review series that we have going on, and get Retro Bites 15 days early with an extra topic, now featuring more Joe. You can also join the Hero tier and get all this, as well as select a game for the host to review on Quick Play, get New Game Plus, and you'd get a shout out. Now that the plugs are out of the way, it's time we give you, the audience, a chance to write into the host, who is me, on what we call the 9-bit banter box, which is culturally elegant. And first up on the 9-bit banter box, we have Unbuckled Kate from Unbuckled Comics. That comes into play a little bit later. Brian, he says, starts, "You and the boys have been at this for a while now. I'm wondering, do you think that it has affected your ability to casually enjoy video games, or anything in general? I know I can't read a comic without really analyzing, even if it's one I'm reading with my 3-year-old. How come Spidey and his amazing friends never actually put the villains behind bars? But the other week I went to see a movie with my wife and some friends, a movie I gave fuck all about, but there I was analyzing every detail and making my thoughts known. Is this a product of age, reviewing things too often, being hangry, or was I always just like this, but rarely shared my opinions for some reason? Love to hear your thoughts." Alright, great question, lot to unpack here, so I'm going to try to unpack it a little systematically, so if I go a bit off topic, it's because I like to rant. I am still able to enjoy games, but I have to make sure I enjoy the games away from the show. So I just finished Ghost of Yotai. I love that game. That was my side game that had nothing to do with the show. I did turn it into a New Game Plus, though. That's the other thing. If I like a game enough, or if I have an opinion on it, I will try to add it to the New Game Plus tier, on the Hero tier there. I'm now into Power Wash Simulator 2, and in the last 2 days I've played 12 hours of that game. It is highly addictive. You got to be careful with that one. That is one of those games that just locks you in. You don't realize time is going by. So yeah, I am still able to enjoy games. Games for the show, it hit and miss. I mean, honestly, if I really like the game, I get into it. If the game surprises me and it's good, I will lock in. Some games I have to force myself through because let's be honest, not everything is a golden nugget in this turd of a podcast we have going on. But as for things like movies and all that, I have noticed I've been watching a lot less movies, and I pretty much stopped reading altogether. School plays a large part in this as well. I spend a lot of time trying to focus on learning 3ds Max, which is more complicated than it ought to be, because the only thing that's really not making sense to me right now is trying to break everything down into a shape, but that's again, that's off topic. If I had to give you my unprofessional opinion, though, I think you're just somebody who likes to look beyond the story. I do too. Like, I will watch movies and I will see glaring mistakes, and I will, make the comment to my wife. It's very normal to see flaws in medias, and honestly, it's quite hard to let yourself just get lost in a movie. Some movies are so dumb. Like, if you take the original Airplane from the 80s, I mean, that movie you cannot take literally, but it is actually based off of 2 movies, one called Airport and the other one called Zero. I can't remember the name of it. It's a Canadian movie, but it's almost a shot-for-shot parody of those 2 movies. And if you watch the originals, it takes itself very seriously, but Airplane doesn't. So I obviously saw Airplane first, and then the originals, all I could do was analyze scene by scene. So it's, I guess it's just something we do as adults. I don't think it's a bad thing. Just it might be how you've learned to ingest media. It's just how you absorb story. I also think that pointing stuff out is not a bad thing, especially if you find it funny, but I also find that we tend to allow ourselves to become quite negative, almost jaded as we get older, so it's something I've always had to avoid doing. I don't like the feeling I get of being negative all the time, because it's just, putting yourself in a bad mood. So I'd say, if anything, try to avoid being super negative. Pointing stuff out that's funny is great, but yeah, I guess you've probably become more aware since you started your podcast. Here's the callback to Unbuckled Comics, sorry. You really do dig deeper into the stories of comic books and stuff like that, so you've got to be training yourself, whether you notice it or not, to be more analytical when it comes to stories. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, buddy. I just think, just avoid being super negative about stuff, because that just breeds more negativity. Always be happy. Next up, we got Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, who I had to add his name to my spell checker, so I didn't have to spell it out anymore. He says, do you have any Black Friday regrets? Well, Black Friday isn't really that huge of a deal in Canada as it is in the US. There is a video online. If you look Canadian Black Friday, and you'd have to probably search for it now, it's a little bit older, but it's Best Buy opening the doors on Black Friday, and this one guy, a lineup of people walking in, and the employees are clapping. There's no mass rush of people. It's truly, truly Canadian. But they've also done something where instead of being a Black Friday day sale, it's now a Black Friday week sale leading into Cyber Monday. And I, like many people, have noticed a long time ago that some companies are starting to raise their prices a few months before. I have a tracker on Amazon that tells me what the price was throughout the year, and it shows me on a chart, and you'll notice a lot of stuff on the Black Friday or the Cyber Monday deals have been bumped up in price, and then they're put back to their original price and marked as on sale. So it's shady business tactics, and I don't jump at it anymore. We do Boxing Day here, which is December 26th, so the day after Christmas. Same idea. We all get together, have turkey, and then we go out and maul each other in the stores. That's pretty much our Black Friday. That's where a bunch of good deals come, and again, they've turned it into a Boxing Week sale, so it's kind of pointless because you can now just take your time. It's kind of taken away some of the excitement of these days, and I think they've done it to themselves. But as for regrets, not anything really. I mean, I've gone into stores and I've seen stuff I've wanted, but I very rarely on these days have disposable income. I mean, especially right after Christmas. I save money by being poor. That's how I put it. Hopefully that answers your question, because I don't really have a better answer for that. I don't tend to regret missing or purchasing stuff because I have quite more than I need. Before I retired from the military, I went on a shopping spree and I got myself all my fun little toys to last me for a few years. Alright, so moving on, we got Hoodies, Gang of Thugs, who says, Big Bad Bucking Brian. Do you like snowmobiles? They seem like good transportation when living in a frozen tundra. Yes, Canada, the frozen tundra, 20 miles from where you live, instant wall of ice year-round. So no, I don't actually like snowmobiles, but there's a qualifier to that. I've actually never ridden a snowmobile. I've always been on ATVs and quads and stuff like that. I've never owned one myself, but I've borrowed some from friends, and we used to have a lot of back trails where I lived up north in Alberta, and we would always go on the back trails and, screw around and do stuff like that. It was a good time, but I can never convince myself to actually buy one because I can never convince myself I would use it enough. Hindsight being 2020, kind of wish I did, because could have gone places on my own. Mind you, there wasn't cell phones and GPS and shit like that, so I probably would have got lost and, I wouldn't be here today. I don't think, unless I went far north where there is a ton of snow, that I actually would like snowmobiling, but there are trails, I believe, up north where you can snowmobile for days at a time and go, just basically do a voyage completely on snowmobile, and that sounds like something I'd actually enjoy, going from location to location and just spending the day ripping around on a snowmobile. Alright, I hope that answers that question. Snowmobiles equals garbage. Just kidding. Alright, next up we got the big deal. During the last... Sorry, I gotta restart this. Man, it's early in the morning. During the last 9-Bit Banter Box, you mentioned a fan game you're playing, AM2R. That's another Metroid 2 remake. Have you dipped your toes in any other fan games, and which ones can you shout out as being of high quality as an official release? I'll shout out this is big deal still. I'll shout out TMNT, Rescue Palooza, and Mega Man X Street Fighter myself. Alright, so as for me, yes, I played another Metroid 2 remake that was a quick play, as somebody asked me to do. I normally don't jump into, I'm gonna say, like, randomizers and mods and things like that, because my experience tends to be I get the ones that are like low quality remakes, or somebody who doesn't understand the concept of storytelling and taking a story and making it respectful to the original stuff. Another Metroid 2 remake blew my mind. It is a direct remake of Metroid 2, and it's done in the Game Boy Advance style, and they did it so well. And of course, it's in a quick play. It's coming up in the quick play pretty soon, so if you're part of the Patreon, you can listen to that episode. But the short story of it is, this guy makes this remake. He fucking nails it. He just absolutely makes the most beautiful remake of Metroid 2 possible. Nintendo comes in with lawyers swinging, and they take him down, and they take every copy online down. But of course, once it's online, it never comes down. And then they release their own DS version or 3DS version of the remake. So this game, if you can get your hands on it, which is PC only, you got to install it. It's not like you can slap it on Steam or something. Yeah, if you can get a copy of this game, definitely worth a playthrough. It is, like, so good. Like, everything you want updated is there, and they added new enemies and like storyline capabilities and stuff like that. So like the guy put the work in, so it was really good. As for anything else, there is only one other fan-made game which I haven't got around to playing, which I've been reading is kind of mixed reviews, and it's Chrono Trigger Crimson Echoes. And obviously, me being a huge Chrono Trigger fan, you think I'd jump all over this, but at the same time, I don't want to have like Chrono Trigger poo-pooed on by somebody who just doesn't really get it. I've heard good things about it. I've heard it's like way harder than Chrono Trigger, but it just reuses the assets and the locations, and it remakes the game. So one day I'm going to get into that and play it again. Anything else, I don't know. I don't do randomizers. I don't know. I get people love the challenge of things like that, but not me. I prefer a game that, is done, or a remake that's done properly. AM2R has set the standard. I am definitely going to be looking into these two that you mentioned here, Turtles Rescue Palooza and Mega Man X Street Fighter. They do sound like they would be right up my alley, so thanks for the recommendations. Anybody else, if you've ever heard about those games, jump into the Discord and let us know what you think of them. Next up, we got Blue Yoshi, who says, Brian, please come up with a name for a Pokemon card. Here's my version for an example. Reverse Hollow Rainbow Rare Tag Team Double Pikachu and Shiny Zekrom VMAX GX. You asked the absolute wrong person for this. I was going to record the intro 24 hours ago, but I had to figure out what the hell you were talking about and then come up with something. And then I started having fun with it. So I came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I came up with 8 of them. I had to go to my son because he does have Pokemon cards. Him and his friends have started getting into them, as all kids eventually do. I'd rather him do drugs, honestly. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I came up with 8. So here we go. I have Reverse Holo Cosmic Rainbow Rare Tag Team Double Pikachu and Shiny Raichu VMAX GX EX. All gibberish to me. Full Art Hyper Flare Secret Rare Tag Team Charizard and Moltres and Shiny Arcanine V-Star VMAX GX. Parallel Foil Title Surge Ultra Rare Tag Team Squirtle, Wardle, and Blastoise VMAX EX V-Star GX. Reverse Holo Leviathan Secret Rare Tag Team Magikarp and Shiny Gyarados V-Star VMAX. Crystal Core Earthquake Ultra Rare Tag Team Geodude Graveler and Golem VMAX GX. Galactic Thunderstrike Rainbow Rare Tag Team Zapdos and Shiny Jolteon V-Star VMAX. And finally, Sky Prism Holo Rare Tag Team Pidgeot, Fearow, and Shiny Dodrio VMAX GX. Hopefully that is enough for you. That wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be. That was a lot of research. You really gave the right person the wrong question, and it was kind of fun. Hopefully that satisfies you there, Blue Yoshi, and if it doesn't, try Sam. Sam knows what he's talking about. Next up, we got Fill Up My Mouth with Farts. And sounds like a good time. So he says, Hi Brian, would you rather take a summer vacation to Raccoon City or Silent Hill? Without thinking, Raccoon City. I don't like the fog. The fog just depresses me. I want to see some apocalyptic sky. Also, I think the zombies are slower in Resident Evil than they are in Silent Hill. Plus, I don't have to go visit the Umbrella Corp. You never mentioned I have to. You just said the city. So I could find myself a nice hotel. I mean, if the city's like, garbage, I'm just going to go get a penthouse suite. There's got to be stuff in there to survive for a few days. I'm only taking a vacation, about a week, maybe a weekend, depending on, how I feel for vacation time. So I would go to Raccoon City because, like you said, while Silent Hill is a small town, has a motel, who wants to sleep in a motel? And Raccoon City is a city, so it's got to have a 5-star hotel. And if everybody is in an apocalyptic state, I can just go to the highest point, find myself a penthouse suite, and that's where I'm going. That is my answer to that. Thank you very much. And finishing it all off is Brother Retro, who says, Aye, Captain. You've probably answered this already, but what is one retro game that is a must-play for you multiple times a year if you have one? Mine has to be Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. I will do a 100% map run of that game 3 to 4 times a year and it never gets old. It only takes me a few hours at this point, so it's really just a relaxing playthrough. Soul grinding and all, what say you? I mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. I used to play Chrono Trigger at least once a year. I haven't pretty much since COVID, minus the time we played it for the show there in episode 50. For me, comfort, if you want to couple this in with comfort games, it would be games that I've played before that I really like. So old RPGs, that tends to be where I go. Just something I can sit back. It's a little bit slower of a grind. It's not stressful jumping, it's not platforming, or it's not Souls-like. It's not anything that requires me to have reaction time. So just get into it, replay it, enjoy the story again for the umpteenth time, and just have something to take me away from reality for a bit. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Other than that, I really don't have a huge answer for this one. Aria of Sorrow sounds absolutely awful to me as somebody who's not a big fan of Castlevania. I'll never play Symphony of the Night again. I've played it once, and yeah, that was good enough for me. So, you know what? If I had to say something, if I had to pick a game that I had to play a few times over, it'd be Super Mario World. That game it's not perfect in my opinion, but it's close enough. It has everything you just kind of want in a platformer, and it has enough levels to last a couple of hours. So I'm going to go with Super Mario World. I need to do another run through of that. It's been a couple of years, but I don't have any more annualized games. For over the last 12 months, I've been attempting to go through the Final Fantasy games. So I've done 1 through 6. I've finished 8 as of recording right now, and I started 7 again. My goal is by May to get through 10. all the way through 10. So I have the rest of 7, 9, and then 10. And that will be 10 Final Fantasies in 12 months. And it all started with Final Fantasy IV back when we did it for the show. So I'm getting there. Just Final Fantasy VIII kind of broke me for RPGs for a bit. I could tell you why, but, you know, Alan keeps telling me to stop. So that's it. That's my answer. And that's my answer for everyone. So that's going to do it for the 9-Bit Banter Box. As always, thank you guys for writing in. This week was some particularly challenging questions, looking at you, Blue Yoshi. But no, I had a lot of fun with it. I even took some extra time to do it, distracting me from my homework. It was kind of a nice break. All right, so as we do now here, we're going to move on to our next segment, which is going to be the monkey paw of Retrotopia. It is Choose One, Lose One.
Ladies and gentlemen, roll up and choose your power-up from the game of the week. You pick a power, we pick a consequence. It's Choose One, Lose One, the game where everyone's a loser.
That's right, it's Choose One, Lose One, the game show of Retrotopia, and this week is Evoland, and it starts with Unbuckled Cape, who says, I'm not big on RPGs, so I'd like to grow my RPG-ness. Thanks. Granted, you now have a very large RPG-ness, but it's too large. Now you can't handle how large your RPG-ness is with the vast backlogs of RPGs out there, and you succumb to overstimulation and die of autoerotic RPGing. It's where you wrap a belt around your neck and hang yourself from the closet while playing Chrono Trigger. Great time, trust me. Never climax so hard. Off topic. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious says, I would like quality of life improvements as I get older. Granted, my friend, your life gets better mechanics, making tasks easier. However, you cannot function without a controller in your hands as you require the analog to move about. You must do this from your point of view, but the controls itself is from a top-down 3/4 view, making movement nearly impossible. Also, your A button is broken, so you cannot accept anything. Next up, we got Sharkbite, who says, I would like to be able to flick between 2D and 3D. Well, that's granted, my friend. So you can now move between these two planes. But the ability to control this movement is done so by your wife, who can flick you into another plane, for which you'll no longer be able to fathom the concept of a 3D plane, leaving her some peace and quiet. She chooses when you can return. This takes a huge toll on your mental state, as every time you come back into the 3D realm, your mind is absolutely blown by the ability to see that third dimension. Next up, you got Hoolies Gang of Thugs. I want the power to be able to freeze stuff at my will. Granted, buddy, you now own a freezer. Blue Yoshi 94 says, I want to know what Evoland is. This is good because you can't take my ears. Wait, what are you doing? Well, your wish is granted. You will learn everything about Evoland in this episode. The punishment is you have to do it through Retrotopia. We're sorry. That's just Canadian in me. And finally, we have Brother Retro, who says, I want to look more appealing with the more experience I get in this life. Like fine wine, baby. And I said that in your inflection for you, buddy. Well, you're granted every level you go up, you get more appealing. But you need 10,000 experience per level, and you get 1 experience per month. And I did the math. That's around 833 years to gain 1 level. You'll never make it. All right, that's it. Thanks, everybody, for writing into the Choose One, Lose One. And now that it's over, it's time for me to hand the mic over to Alan, as he's going to give us the Gentleman's Interlude.
Evoland is game. Small game at start. World flat, no color. You walk, hit monster. Chest give new power. World grow big. Game made by Shiro Games. Full game born in 2013. Later live on phone in 2015. In the land of changing visions, there existed a lone hero who wandered through a world that shifted with every treasure opened. At first, the realm was pale and still, but with each discovery, colors returned, music stirred, and new ways of battling rose. Crafted by the hands of Shiro Games, this tale first emerged in the year 2013, and later seasons it found its way to roaming devices carried by many.
Be it known that Evoland is an adventure most curious, devised by the company called Shiro Games. In the earliest moments the traveller perceiveth but meagre hues and the simplest forms of combat. Yet, by unlocking chests scattered through the realm, the world doth grow in splendour, first with richer colours, then with improved sound and more intricate arts of battle. This work was first set forth upon the 4th day of April in the year of our Lord 2013, and thereafter, in the year 2015, it was brought onto diverse mobile instruments. Evoland distinguishes itself through its most ingenious conceit, that the very fabric of the game should evolve in tandem with the player's progress. One begins amidst an austere landscape reminiscent of the earliest electronic entertainments. Yet with each milestone achieved, the world acquires new sophistication, broader palettes, richer harmonies, and systems of increasing mechanical complexity. Conceived by the industrious minds at Shiro Games and released in April of 2013, with subsequent mobile editions in 2015, the title presents itself as both a delight of play and a charming survey of the medium's developmental epochs. From a critical perspective, Evoland operates simultaneously as a game and as a curated historical progression of video game design. Its defining mechanism, the systematic unlocking of graphical, mechanical, and structural advancements, serves as a simulated chronology of genre evolution. From early 2D action-adventure conventions to fully realized 3D RPG frameworks. Developed by Shiro Games and originally released in 2013, with mobile ports following in 2015, the work functions as a compact but meaningful commentary on how technological innovation shapes player experience and narrative form across gaming history.
And as always, thank you, Alan. I promise you I am super happy with it, even though I haven't heard it yet, and I'm going to be splicing it into the episode later. But that's neither here nor there, because before we get into the game chat, we've opened up the comment section for you guys to give a little bit of your thoughts about Evoland. And we start with Sharkbite, who says, what an absolutely amazing game this is. It's basically the history of RPGs in an RPG. I love this game and its sequel. The card game is pretty good too. It really is. Brother Retro says, unemployed. In Evoland? Shout out to anyone who gets that reference, but seriously, never played it, never heard of it, but I can't wait to hear about it. Let's go. So, I don't get the reference. I'm going to be honest. I didn't think to look that up, but if you get the reference, you're better than me. Let's put it that way. And speaking of being better than me, thanks to everyone who wrote in, but we're going to put in a little music here as we lead into the episode. And this week we are talking Evoland, developed by Shiro Games, who also published it. It's been released multiple times between 2013 and 2019 for Windows, phones, Linux, PS4, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One. We hope you enjoy the show, and thank you very much for listening. It's Evoland, a little mini indie game that kind of takes you through the history of role-playing games and role-playing like games because it finishes off a little bit Zelda-esque. Joining me, as always, is the Brit who started out as a 8-bit pixel, Alan, and of course my 16-bit buddy, Sam. How are you guys?
Awesome.
I got
wait,
16,
can I?
I got 16 whole bits.
There you go. I mean, you said I started out as an 8-bit. I mean, have I gotten the ability to talk yet, or what? I mean, where am I now in the evolution
No, shut
of
up.
like, graphical?
Yeah, seriously, like, read the room.
It's been fun, guys.
I had nothing. Like, I didn't actually plan for anything, and I'm kind of running, like, Sam said it today, he's running on fumes. I'm not far behind him, and it doesn't sound like, Alan, you've recovered yet from the loss of the Great British Bake Off.
I should be watching that right now, but it's finished, so I don't know what to do with my life. So I guess I'll talk to you guys. But no, Brian, that was good. That was good. That was a good, smooth fucking intro. For the rest of the episode, I will be conducting this through the use of text boxes, though. Enjoy.
Use of text boxes. Find the whatchamacallit first. Anyway, so yeah, but we're talking Evoland, and we just kind of went on a long little, I guess probably one of our most out of left field after darks, because we were recording this not long after we did Cool Borders.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time you're listening to this, you know our opinion on Cool Borders, and you know that it was kind of a unhappy episode for us, but I want you guys to tell me how you feel about this game in general overall. Let's just get the mood right this time. How do you guys feel about it?
Well, while Alan's typing,
Yeah. I'll just do it entirely in like Link noises. Hi.
right.
And that was my opinion.
This is
Wow.
yeah. Do you want to go? Sorry, you go first.
God knows what's going on right now. It's already gone off the rails. Look at that. As it so often does. You know what? This game makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside because it is such a lovely little love letter to video games. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm quite fond of video games. So, yeah, this game put a smile on my face for that reason.
All right.
Yeah.
So definitely a better atmosphere. Sam, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I think I'd grabbed this a while back just based on something I'd heard somewhere, a recommendation, and I never got around to playing it, which is silly because it's only like 3 hours long. I thought it was more substantial of a game, but I'm kind of glad it wasn't because it was just like Alan said, kind of just a nice little chill, sit down and play through it and just kind of enjoy it. It's more of something to be experienced more than anything that's, you have to, it's loaded with achievements. So I don't want to say it's not something that you have to work at or anything. It just really isn't. You just kind of sit down and enjoy it. And I thought that was pretty fun. And yeah, like you said, it's loaded with all kinds of references. And as you progress through it, you kind of get little nods to stuff. It's delightful.
Yeah, and you guys said it well. Like there really is no story to begin this game off with. You start in a silent Game Boy looking pixelated, very low graphics, 1x1 square world, and you're in the middle of the woods. And the first thing you can do is move to the right. That's all you can do. That is literally your only action. You run into a chest, then you can move left, and you run into a second chest, and then you finally get the ability to kind of begin moving from, like Zelda used to do. You'd move from screen to screen, and the whole screen would shift.
Mm-hmm.
So you get basic scrolling, and you're still in this Game Boy-esque level. You have no music, you're walking around, you have no weapon, and it evolves through the periods of role-playing games and RPGs up until the point where you're in this 3D, more modern-day world with, crescendo music and all that kind of good stuff. So we're gonna build this through the ages because there's really no way to talk about like any specific thing until you get to that part of the game. What was your first initial impression when you started the game out and you just had to move right?
Do you know what? Right from the off, because you'd kind of
already laid the groundwork for what this game was for us, because you, by far and away, as far as I know, have the most experience with this game out of all of us.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad you brought this to the table, actually, because this, as I said, this was a lot of fun. But I kind of knew what to expect, but not how it was done. And when I first started and it had that, as you say, that Game Boy sort of style of visual and what have you, I was just like, you know what? I could just play an entire game that looked just like this. Because it instantly just sparked that sense of nostalgia right from the jump, which is what it's designed to do. I mean, this game is designed to tap into that nostalgia vein. And I was just like, yeah, already, like, I like what I'm seeing here, because this reminds me of my childhood, even though I've never played it before.
Yeah, and that sense of, like, for me, it just was exactly what you said. It was my childhood becoming a game, and I'm going through the history. Because as you progress through the game, the reason is called Evoland, is you're going to continue to upgrade the graphics throughout the game, the music, the fighting, the hit points, the health, the levels, all that stuff gets upgraded as you progress through the game. And it's not long after you start that all of a sudden you go from the 8-bit color monochrome screen to 16 colors in the Super Nintendo looking thing, and then 256 colors, and all the way through Final Fantasy. Like, there's a level in this, or a town in this, that looks exactly like it was ripped out of Final Fantasy VII.
Right, yeah.
There's a dungeon that looks like it was ripped out of a Zelda game. Like, that's the kind of journey you're on in this. And for one, like, I still remember the first time I played this game. I was almost upset that it was so short, but at the same time, like, it was a fantastic journey.
Yeah. I would say, you mentioned, like, you asked us how we felt when it was like all you could do is, move left or right, but, it kind of feels like, oh, it's too simplistic, or potentially starts out too simplistic. Like, don't go into it with that mindset, because you get these little treasure chests and are constantly unlocking. So, like, there's a progression very quickly of, 3D to 2D, not 2D to 3D, but just basically like movement to adding, like various concepts that it's almost like a timeline of the progression of RPGs, which is what it is, because it's Evoland, so it's evolving in front of your eyes, and you get that sense as you're unlocking these chests. And I don't know if this was like this in the original release, but at least the release I played on the Switch, it kind of pops up like little achievements every time you open. So, like, the game itself.
No, that's right from the first time the game released.
Because, like, obviously Nintendo doesn't have achievements, but in game, there are achievements that are popping up, and so there is probably, I didn't dig into it too much, but I'm sure there's a full list of them somewhere, and I don't think I got anywhere close to getting everything. So there's replayability there too.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's definitely. Oh, go ahead, Alan.
I was just going to say, I absolutely adore that idea of, like, the evolution of game mechanics is the game mechanic in this game. It's just like you found yourself, every chest you would come across, I was genuinely excited, because I was like, oh, what upgrade to the gaming experience am I about to get? I mean, you start early off, as Brian said, your direction is very limited. You'll come across some chests, you can move more, you get another chest, the screen scrolls smoother, you get another chest, and suddenly there's music, and it's just like, oh my god. I mean, this game is layering itself bit by bit, and it just makes it just makes it a joy. You see a chest and you pop. You just think, oh, what is about to happen to this entire? How is this game going to change when I open this chest? And I can't wait to find out.
A star.
Even that. Well, you've got to have collectibles. I love a collectible.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big collectible guy.
Yeah, there's two types of collectibles in this game. There's the stars where you find these chests. They're usually off the beaten path. And then you find cards, because there is a side card game in this.
Yes.
Triple Triad.
It's Triple Triad, and it's awesome.
It is Triple Triad.
I was going to say. But I can't remember what they call the game in this, game. But I think the only place you can play it is in the Final Fantasy VII town.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that
Yeah, and I think
literal
that is-
one person who's standing in the market who will play cards.
They just call it.
Yeah,
They
so-
just call it Game of Cards.
Game of cards.
There you go, perfect name for the game. But one of the things I really love about this game is kind of remembering the evolution of how video games work. Like I said, you start off by bumping into the edge of the screen, and it scrolls to the next screen, like the first Zelda game. But then you get more free movement. At first, you can only move up, down, left, or right. You're very static with the D-pad. Then you get something called free movement, and now you can do angles and stuff like that, and it makes the analog stick more useful. And eventually, you'll pop into 3D and all that kind of good stuff. But just going through this from the Game Boy to the PlayStation, where you have they programmed in CD loading times.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you can buy a DVD player and speed that loading time up.
I love that.
That to me was just
That was a nice
brilliant.
touch. That was very funny, and it was.
Yeah.
And it's funny too because it was like completely unnecessary. But if you did like I was seeing the things in the store and how much they cost, I'm like, okay, I got to make sure that I grind so that I get enough coins so that I can buy this thing and find out what it does, because I was genuinely that interested, and that's all it did, and I wasn't even mad. I was just like, whatever, that's clever.
No. And you know what? I didn't even like. Suddenly, you get into the 3D and the pre-rendered backgrounds and stuff like that. Your Final Fantasy VII, basically, and suddenly there are load times when you go from screen to screen, and I didn't even stop to think at the time because I was just like, well, of course there are. I mean, this is exactly how it was, and my brain has been tricked at this point into thinking, well, this, everything. This is natural to this style of game. This is not something necessarily that they've actively chosen to happen, but it is. Everything is a design choice in this game, like loading times. They didn't have to put that in there. It doesn't actually serve a purpose beyond reminding you that, remember back in the 90s, 2000s when we had to wait for things to load? Well, there you go. And beautiful. Chef's kiss. Just such a nice touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a little bit later in the game when they let you switch between 2D and 3D to kind of further the puzzle, they're like, you get an airship eventually near the end of the game, and you can fly back to the old areas you went to, and this 3D 2D mechanic comes in to finish finding the collectibles. But I found it was a great way to, because this happens near the end of the game, and it was a great way to kind of, I guess, show you everything that has gone on since you started the game and put you back in that 2D environment again. It's just, I don't know. There's nothing about this game I dislike. Even that last fight, which we'll get into in a little bit here. We'll get into the big boss fight, because that's probably the worst part about the game, and even that wasn't terrible. But I love the fact that, especially I was playing it yesterday, because the game only takes about 2.5 hours to play, and I didn't notice for so long, but I finally noticed this time that you actually circle back around and go back to the first area after you get the 3D.
Yes.
I don't know why I didn't notice that. And
I almost didn't catch it, though. I was just like, oh, I think this is the beginning back,
Yeah,
see it in a different way.
I don't think I caught
and
that
then
at all.
if you try to veer off to where you started it all, you'll get stopped by the side character you get, the Kingdom Hearts-esque type girl named Kari or something like that.
Her name is Karis.
Karis, whatever.
Yeah.
I get
Yes. And yep.
it.
And
there we go.
And she's a healer.
Yep. Yeah, and she holds a big staff.
Yep.
Did you guys rename your character?
Hell no. I never do.
I don't think I did.
Yeah, neither do I.
But did you get any sort of achievement? Oh, you didn't. So none of us did. I wonder if that's another, the like mini achievement or whatever. Like, oh, you renamed your character. Something like that.
I'm pretty sure when you first meet her, she asks you your name, and I think no matter what you put in, it will just say you have a name, and that's the achievement there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did you guys find the secret area after you meet Karis?
Maybe.
If you go around the lake, like it's the 16-bit lake, you go around it, and there's a secret grove in there to get another achievement.
Is that the Is that the grove where you go? There's a ladder that goes underground. Is that
Yeah,
that
and
one?
you just run into some trees and you find it, right?
I think so. That definitely sounds familiar because I must have seen just about everything because again, anything with collectibles, I'm all over it, mate. So I went and got everything in this game.
Yeah, I tried
I'm
to really
pretty sure.
explore and get as much as I could.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely run into everything, cut every bush, and just make sure I got it all.
Well, because
But
also,
this time,
once you got
go
the
ahead.
airship, there was a whole other cavern that you could find.
Yeah. I love that. Isn't there always an airship? I mean, that is such a wonderful trope. Like, and I didn't even consider it. It was just like suddenly there was an airship, and I was like, oh, of course there's an airship. Fantastic, because
Absolutely.
you do get to a point where you're thinking, oh, there's all these collectibles around, and I would really like to go back and get them, but it is a bit of a ball ache to backtrack on foot. So then when they gave me an airship, I was just like, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
and I was all over that map.
yeah, and a big overworld map. Well, not big, but an overworld map that you can just float around and
No, it's not
go
massive.
find everything.
It's not massive, but it's enough.
Yeah, the game's not massive either, so if it was any bigger, it would be kind of ridiculous. But it was well done. Favorite moment in the game? Favorite thing you found that upgraded the game? Do you guys have one? I do.
Well, why don't you go
Come
ahead and
back
give
to
me a
me.
chance to think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that moment there where you walk out of the forest into the field there, where you start doing the random battles, you hit a chest and it does mode 7, and everything shifts to that mode 7 look. I love that moment.
That is a good one. I think I think it's the second that because back in the day I was obsessed with Final Fantasy, especially like the PlayStation ones, and I think that moment you go from the kind of top-down Zelda-esque gameplay, and suddenly you're out in the field, and I guess it's kind of strange to say that random encounters and shit like that was probably my favorite change in the game, but it's just like, oh shit, suddenly I'm playing an old school RPG just like I always used to love, and it did not feel out of place. This game adopts two completely different gameplay styles, and I was just like, yeah, fucking seamless. This works. So I really, really like the fact that I can play like a Zelda game. I can now play like a Final Fantasy game. I love that they mix that up.
Yeah. That Zelda dungeon is probably, I'd say it's my favorite dungeon in the game. The one I don't like is that graveyard-esque type, the ruins, I think it's
Is that
called.
where you're in the
Oh,
cave?
yeah.
You have to go through and you get all the spiders.
Yeah. I did like that, but I was wondering if you guys knew. I had meant to ask you guys if you knew what that was kind of like a riffing off
I think
of.
it's
I feel like
it's more like Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's
Okay,
Gate or Diablo
but like a really
or something like
simplified
that.
version.
Yeah,
Mm.
Diablo or Diablo.
Diablo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's more of the top-down American RPGs rather than the JRPGs this game is really focused on at the beginning.
Yeah,
A
but
dungeon
it's
crawler.
right. Yeah, I guess, but it's not like oh, what am I looking for? Like, it's not as complex, I would say. Like,
No,
I was like,
no.
man, I'd like to play a game like this, but also games that are actually and the turn-based and all the aspects of the game are definitely simplified. But I think this one more than anything is kind of a simplified version of that.
Oh yeah. I do love how this game continuously changes how you take damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you start off by a one hit, you're dead, and then you get, health points, and then you do random battles, and it's, Final Fantasy-esque. So you have hit points, and then you can level up, and then you get the Zelda hearts, and then when we get to the dungeon crawl area, you get the big globe of blood that represents your health, and when you get hit, it goes down.
Right.
I honestly, only thing I didn't like about the hearts was the fact that you couldn't get more. I thought it would be nice if you could at least get maybe one extra heart, but you're stuck with 3 the entire time.
Yeah, and luckily it's such that like when you take damage, it doesn't take a whole heart away. It takes like a quarter. So really that 3 is not truly 3. It's
You know
12.
what? I'm gonna dispute that as it goes, because I distinctly remember getting an extra heart. I got 4 by the end of this game.
Ooh,
And
maybe there was one and we just didn't find it.
Maybe I missed something.
there is, because when you're in the when you're in the field, the sort of RPG field, every once in a while you'll fight a giant yellow bird, which again I really popped when I saw. Good old angry chocobo. And if you beat one of them, you get a bit of, I guess, call it chocobo meat. And you,
Oh, it's a fourth heart secret. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Oh,
off.
but it is a
and
secret.
it is. And then you go back to the town and you get somebody to cook it for you. And then you find the merchant just randomly in the field and give it to him, and he'll give you an extra heart.
Interesting.
There is no way you figured that out on your own.
I did, as it goes, because they basically tell you.
My God, are you a genius?
I am a genius. But yeah, no, because I got the first time I got it, I just basically ate the meat and used it as I guess a health potion.
So
But
the thing you had to kill is called a chobako.
Chewbacca, there you go. I mean, it's just this game takes so many liberties with its influences, but you just have to love it for it, because we all know what it's doing. It's not trying to hide anything. In fact, it even says in the credits at the end, this game was heavily inspired by Zelda, Dragon Quest, all of that stuff, Final Fantasy, and just every so often you would see. Did you guys come across? I mean, I guess we're talking about some of the enemies now, but did you guys come across the piranha plants?
Yes.
No.
And in the turn-based sections, the enemies were kind of based on Mario characters. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Huh.
So you basically had I guess, I suppose you had the turtles, which are kind of like the adamantoises in Final Fantasy, but they could have a suit mount. But you do get the literal piranha plants coming out of tubes, I think, as well. But they look fucking gnarly. They're very cool.
It's interesting. I probably know what you guys are talking about if I saw the enemies, but I'm not ringing a bell on the piranha plant.
There you go. And that's just it. For a game that, as you've said, is like 2 to 3 hours long, all of us here are finding out new things about it that we weren't aware of. That's how, that is how jam-packed with references and shit like that this game actually is.
Yeah.
Well, right, because what you described, Alan, there are several steps. There's items that, there's a few steps, just like in the games that influenced it. You might find some random item, and then they don't really tell you what it's for. It just, if you happen to talk to the right person in the right town while holding the correct thing, then it will trigger a series of events that leads to something else. That's where probably a lot of the extra stuff that you don't catch on your first Surface playthrough are hidden probably throughout. I'm purely speculating, but it makes sense because Alan found one that's just like that.
Yeah, that's just RPG 101.
Yeah.
See, I didn't see those piranha plants because I don't think I ever spend a lot of time in that wasteland when you have to, or where you find them in the 3D Final Fantasy VII-esque fighting area. Alan just sent me a picture. So.
Sure did. But you see what I mean, though? I mean, those are definitely...
they're definitely piranha plants.
Yeah, exactly. It's just... So, and did you catch the sword that you got? Did you catch that one?
Yeah.
It looks quite like a
you
Buster
get the
sword.
Buster Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's called Claude's sword.
Uh-huh.
Claude's sword.
Yeah, which I thought was, again, fucking brilliant. Just such... you can tell that this game was made by just people who, like us, just love games, right?
Yeah.
And that's the brilliance of indie games is they're not made by corporations. They're made by people who love video games. So they're putting their heart on their sleeve. They're putting their passion out there. And it just shows us that we're all passionate. A lot of us are passionate about the same thing. So there's an indie game for everyone, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a podcast for everyone as well, but they should all be listening to Retrotopia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shameless plug.
There's no such thing. All plugs are just completely business related. Oh God, man, I don't know where to go from here. It's not a lot to talk about. We've talked about kind of the mechanics. The music gets repetitive, though.
I guess.
I guess that overworld theme, there's not a seamless transition from the song ending to the song starting again, which I guess would be like a downside to this game because it really invades your brain. And when it gets to the end there, it almost fades out, then fades back in. It just...
Can't say I ever noticed.
I don't know.
Can't say I ever noticed. But I mean...
well, it's not something you notice, but when you do notice, it's something you can't unnotice.
Ah. Well, thanks for pointing that out then.
Yeah, it's going to ruin your next playthrough.
Because there will be one. There will be a next playthrough. Absolutely. It's not a very long game, so it's just an easy...
No, it's a crapper game. You could finish this thing in a good session of the diarrhea.
Is there such a thing, Brian? Is there a good session of the diarrhea?
Next time you're looking
Depends if you're being constipated for a while or not.
Next time you're looking for like an excuse to play this, like, I'm going to hit up, I don't know, whatever... I'm gonna eat as much Taco Bell as possible, and then I just want to play. I just want an excuse to play.
No, you just want diarrhea. You don't want to kill yourself.
That's it. Just sit on the toilet and play this game, and just see what sets in first. You beating the game or getting deep vein fucking thrombosis or something. You know, where it comes to music, the music and the visuals of this game. They're kind of difficult to talk about because I think this game sounds and looks exactly like it needs to for the time. I mean, you can't ever say that this game looks bad or the graphics are bad or the music sucks because it's because of the progression through the history of gaming, and it is a very, very natural, sequential it makes sense, basically, the way that things change in this game. It never feels like a huge leap. It's just earned. But it's just like, yeah, okay, you know, the game does start out, quote unquote, looking like shit. I mean, in the sense that it is a Game Boy game. And you can't knock it for that because it is doing its job. And that's a really interesting way of kind of sidestepping us judging the visuals and music in this game. Because it's just perfect for what it needs to be.
Yeah, and it takes you through that story of video games itself. It's, you know, it's a journey within a journey, so to speak. I'm in awe that somebody came up with this idea of just literally to build a video game from history's perspective as opposed to just, you know, try to shoehorn in history into a modern game. It's
seamless, yeah.
These guys did good. Yeah,
definitely. It's just, it is a history lesson in game form. You're right.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's anywhere we can go from here except for to talk about that final boss battle before we wrap it up. It's not going to be a super long episode because it's not a super long game. Worst part of the game, you finally meet the big bad boss there, and then you have your Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII-esque fight with them. After you beat him, you have the final form, which takes place in a circular ring in the Zelda-esque style where, you know, you have the 3 hearts, 4 hearts in Alan's case, and you have to run around the ring, and he comes out the middle and attacks you. I found that to be not worse as in I hated it, worse as in is probably the only part of the game that really gave me a challenge.
Same. Big same. And bear in mind, I was playing this on my phone, because... it was literally 52p on my phone, and I thought...
Diarrhea.
Diarrhea. And, yeah, I found it very, very difficult, especially... Well, first of all, I just couldn't figure out to go around behind him and find that ball that had flicked out from back. Did you notice as well that his name is Zephyros?
Yes.
And
that I did notice.
And the female character is called Kairis.
Totally original idea. Nobody's ever done something like that before.
I know, and if you know, you know. But yeah, it was. I found it a bit of a ball ache to try and hit that little pink ball that came out from behind him. He never just seemed to be kind of facing the right way.
I went way off track. I can't find the pink ball as I'm hitting him from behind.
There you go. Yep. I was trying to spank that pink ball from the back, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't working.
Yeah, it took me a while the first time I fought him to figure out what I had to do to beat him as well. And he shoots out those laser beams. You have to run around, and eventually you just see the ball and you just go whack the ball off and do it enough times and it puts him to sleep or kills him.
I did like that there were multiple stages to this fight as well, because
well, you have to have multiple stages in the final boss fight. It's law.
But as soon as that second stage started throwing those balls at me, and one of them was a different color, I was just like, "Oh, buddy, my inner Zelda aficionado just peaked." I was just, I know what I need to fucking do here. You ain't slick. So I definitely appreciated the old Ocarina of Time nod.
That's the one where you had to get the ball to fly out at you, right?
Yeah, well, basically just tennis ball it back and forth and back and forth.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. What's his name? Azkaram or whatever from Link to the Past?
Fuck. I was thinking of Ganondorf from Ocarina of Time, but you're right, and I can't think of the name of the wizard.
Agnim.
Aghanim? Yeah, something like that. Fuck, it's late.
Yeah, he's a dark wizard. Yeah, it's like when you first go to Castle Hyrule there and you get to the top and you have to play Batty Ball with his
Batty Ball
magic because you got the Master Sword, and yeah, that's how you beat him.
Yeah.
Same with this guy.
Yeah. And I again, that made me very, very happy because it was just another nod to something I love so much.
Yeah, Sam, do you got anything left? Or are we ready to wrap this up? Because I'm going to get you to go first.
Oh, well, no, on the final one, just one thing on the final boss. Like, I didn't have a great time with it, but I did appreciate, I guess, that those games that we used to play, and I don't know if this is intentional or if it just is what it is, but the games that we liked to play at the time that this game is based off of also had janky boss fights. So, I mean, it just kind of fits. Whether, like I said, whether it was intentional or not, it is, just, it wasn't great. But, if you look back, neither are a lot of the games that we love. So,
True enough.
It just kind of fits. So that's how I'm going to look at it. But
absolutely perfect. All right, let's get into scoring this. Sam, you carry this forward.
Yeah, you want my final thoughts? All right. Yeah, I'm glad we finally got a chance to play this, or that finally got a chance to play this, because I think I've been just kind of holding on to this in my Switch library for a few years, and I was surprised to learn how long ago it came out. I mean, we are reviewing it on the show, obviously, not because it's quote unquote retro, more because of the homage to the influences than for how old the actual game is. But it's like, wow, it's actually over 10 years old anyways. So whatever, I guess if that's your benchmark, then this is considered retro. So it's like a meta version of retro. It's like a retro inspired, also retro game. But just playing through it, like, you just sit down and have a good time with it. And it's more, easy going. It's not meant to be difficult. It's just meant to kind of be an experience, and it's fun for that. I will definitely play this again, if I have an afternoon or if you're between games and you want to give Evoland a run through, like, just play through it. It's just fun, or if you're kind of down in the dumps and you're wanting something that is a kind of a micro version of the experiences that you enjoyed, without wanting to have to sit down and play a, tens of hours long RPG to get that experience. Like, this is a nice pocket-sized version of, something that's comfort food. So I guess you could go at it from that perspective too. And also, like, I mean, it'll appeal to people in our age group and older, or maybe a little younger if you like to play the games that we like to play. So it's perfect for our age bracket. But also, if you have young kids that are curious about the games that you like, but maybe don't want to commit to, you don't want to overwhelm them with, like, you should play this Final Fantasy game and that Pokemon game and that Zelda game. And then by the time you give them a list of, you give them a reading list, basically, of things that they need to catch up on, they're not going to be interested in it anymore because that's work. Give give them Evoland to play, because that'll kind of give them the gist. And if there's any, like, ask them what their favorite part of Evoland is. And if it's like, well, I really liked, this part, it's like, well, then these are the games that it, fed into that. So, maybe you'll like these.
Freaking
Or
kids.
it's a pretty cool way to go about it. I don't know. Just really unique game. I'm going to give it are we scoring it? Or is this,
Yeah.
is this beyond scoring? I'm going to give it a 9.5. Like, obviously it's not perfect. But as just kind of a nod to all of the influences, I think they really nail it. And I just found out there's a sequel, I guess. So I'm going to be looking forward to finding that at some point too and giving it a try.
Awesome. 9.5. It's higher than I thought you were going to go on this one.
Yeah.
Alan, do you want to carry it forward? Do you want to challenge Sam's score?
Oh, I'll. You know what? First thing I'm going to do about what Sam said is just say that what a fucking great idea that is. I never even considered that whole thing about what part did you like the most, and then lead them to it. That is brilliant. That is genius. I love
sometimes
that.
Sometimes I have decent ideas when I'm exhausted.
Well, you've just used your one per year, and it was worth it. So well done, Sam.
Shit, I got it in right under the wire.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, this game is a wonderful, wonderful speed run through the last 30 to 40 years of video games, and just touches on so many things that we love about the genre, about the media rather. The references, the little quirks they put in this game are just perfectly honed to just hit you in that nostalgia bone. And I was playing this the whole way through with a big old smile on my face, because it did just sort of take me on a journey through my own personal gaming history, because these are all the sort of games that I used to play. Your Zeldas, your Final Fantasies and stuff like that. And to see them sort of so lovingly sent up, it just brought me so much joy. It's not a long game, obviously, but I don't think it needs to be a long game, because up until a certain point, you sort of you could run out of steam. Now, it's no denying that the most enjoyable part of the game is finding those new game mechanics in the chests and seeing what changes about the world, but that's a finite thing. You can only go so far with it, so you're going to get to a point where there's not much more you can change, so why carry on playing? And I think the game does a really good job in not overstaying its welcome in that regard. It gets exactly to where it needs to be, and then it says, here's a boss fight, job done. Music and visuals are, again, as I said, exactly what they need to be for wherever they are in the history of gaming. So, you can't knock anything for how it looks or sounds. I will say that there are some janky game mechanics, like the final boss. I would also argue that the sword fighting in the kind of top-down Zelda sections, the sort of hit detection is a little bit off. I found that quite difficult, but then I can't remember what we were playing recently that I had the same problem. It's just putting the sword out in front rather than the wide slash. I just find it very difficult to line up those strikes without taking damage myself. Maybe it's a me problem, but I don't think so. This game does salvage back some points, though, for a couple of great features, particularly now, like I said, I'm a huge fan of collectibles, and, I did get to a point where it's just like, am I going to be able to find all of these? But there is a guy in the village that you can talk to, and we didn't mention this, and he will tell you not only how many collectibles you've got to go, but the area in which you can find them. Oh, and that is absolutely magnificent. The game gets a point for that alone, because I was more than happy when I found him to just start traipsing around the map looking for everything else that I'd missed. Beautiful, wonderful feature. What else? I don't know. It's just a nice, brief little dose of happy nostalgia. Yeah. I think I'm going to give it about a 9. It's a really fun and enjoyable game, and I'm definitely going to play it again. I'm definitely going to look into the second one. Yeah. Retro at its finest.
There you go. 9.5 and a 9, and I guess I get to summarize this all up. I don't really have much to add. I mean, quite honestly, both you just kind of basically gave this game its deserved reach around. Um, what can I add? There really is nothing about this game to complain about because, as Alan said, it makes the noises it needs to make at the time it needs to make those noises, and it sounds exactly like you expected it to. Every moment that the world upgraded a little bit, you'd have this very bland looking 3D aspect where all the characters were PS1 blocky, and then all of a sudden you get textures, and then everything looks fantastic. It's pixelated 3D, and it just keeps getting better and better from there. And this game is absolutely wonderful. I've played this game about a dozen times. Like, I bought it back in 2013, back when Steam sales, I dumped half my paycheck on a Steam sale. And I think I bought this on spec simply because I liked the trailer for it, and it was cheap as shit. So I have nothing to add. Like, you guys just nailed it, and I'm just gonna go right into my score because I guess maybe I'm going to explain why I'm taking away what I take away, and a little bit is that final boss fight. Kind of not the way I would have wanted the game to end. I felt like that fight was a little bit going backwards because we already did the Zelda thing. Maybe they could have moved forward just a little bit further. One extra, 2013-esque jump for RPGs and stuff like that, or maybe use one of the other mechanics. But that's such a minor point that I can't even really justify that as a way to take it away. There's so much more I have to do in this game, like get the fourth heart, find some of the enemies that I didn't find. So there's reasons for me to go back. However, I am not going to give it a 9.5 or a 9. I'm going to give it an 8.5 because as great as this game is, it is on the short side. It is fun to play, but you have to space out your playthroughs because otherwise it gets very repetitive very quick being so short. So that's kind of where it loses that 1.5 points. It's a fantastic game. I recommend this to everybody to play, but I'm going to go with an 8.5 on this one.
Wonderful.
There you go.
So we're all agreed that this is a better game than Cool Borders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool Borders being a terrible game, and it is the Jesse Eisenberg of video games.
That poor guy.
He just took another shot.
I will not stop taking shots at Jesse Eisenberg as long as he's still acting.
You know what? The Jesse Eisenberg thing on this show and other podcasts that you may have featured on, it just reminds me of that poor fucker in Waterboy. You know, that Colonel Sanders looking guy who just keeps eating shit throughout the like he just keeps eating shit throughout this podcast.
All right. Well, that's been Evoland, and in the time we've been talking about this, Alan has upgraded to full HD graphics, and Sam found a Mode 8. Until next time, thank you guys for listening, and check out the Patreon and all that good stuff. Until next time, I've been Brian with Alan and Sam. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hi there, everyone. We here at Retrotopia couldn't do what we do without the support of our Patreons. And to that effect, we would like to shout out our heroes at the hero tier. So a huge Retrotopia thank you from all of the hosts here to Andrew Wright, Wildcard, Unbuckled Cape, Makeshift Money, Sergeant Ombre, Randy Berridge, BCOS19, J Nasty 15, Chris Kaplane, Jack Datchler, Sir Busts-A-Lot, Big Kid 782, Super Dave, Big Brown Dog, Stud Still Smash, Fallen Snow Kiku, Radmac, Calin Hygus, Old Man Gamer, Raging Demon, Radioactive Hooli, Blue Shell Discharge, The Big Deal, Dylan Jacobson, Game Genius, H, Brother Retro, Shane's World, Ovindally, Brian Spritzer, So thanks as always for your support, guys. It truly means the world to us and means we can keep doing this little thing that we love so much. Game on.